The name of my speech is Biscuits and Gravy. I'd like all of you to take a few seconds to picture in front of you your favorite food. If you need to close your eyes, feel free to do that. Once it's right there in front of you, I'd now like you to take a couple seconds and soak in what the smells of that food are. If it is steaming into your nose, you're breathing it in, take a second to think about what that gives you. Now that you've got that, I'd like you to bring in a little bit more of the envision that you get when you think about that food. Is it cold? Is it hot? Is it on a giant plate? Or is it just one small, delectable item? Now please expand this vision. I'd like you to bring in a memory into play when you think of this favorite food. Who are you sitting with? How old are you at this particular memory? Can you remember what season it is? Can you remember the topics of conversation? And let that fill you up for a few seconds. I find it really special how certain items can bring about memories from our past. And when I think about some of my favorite foods, I can kind of lay out some great moments in my life. Some specific memories that kind of translate into overall time periods and themes that have happened for me. The most recent food item that I've grown to love is sushi. And now growing up, I hated fish. I absolutely hated the smell of fish. I hate how cold it can be if you're eating sushi, if you're eating raw fish. It's just squirmy and slimy, it's awful. So when I was in college, I had one of those friends who's always trying to push you into doing things that you don't really want to do. She's always like, oh, let's try this new hairstyle, let's braid your hair, let's cut it, let's do your bangs, which never let a friend do your bangs. Okay. One day she convinced me to walk to this little hole-in-the-wall restaurant that's probably 10 minutes away from our house. It looked like a Subway building, so I think we've all known what Subway buildings were, but this was for fish. She had us walking there, and when you walk up, it just looks like a little gray box, and you go in and you see crispers that are laid out with the different ingredients that you'll put into your sushi. So you've got your rice, and you've got your seaweed wrap, but there's also this cool thing called soy wrap, and you get to pick out your favorite ingredients. And so mine, because I had no idea what I was doing, she made me pick out avocado and cucumber, the soy wrap, so I didn't freak out and throw up, and salmon. And so it's basically a California roll, and I tried it, and holy cow, did I love it. It was cold and refreshing and wonderful, and we sat there for about an hour eating sushi, which was already gone within 10 minutes, and just talking about the cute boys in college, and I think she had a boyfriend at that time, and the annoying things that he was doing, and it was just such a great moment to hang out and try something new and get a little adventurous and just relax with one of my really good friends. Now when I think back a little bit further, I picture myself eating a giant greasy burrito, so the complete opposite of sushi. Going through this time period in my life when I was eating these giant burritos, I envisioned myself in high school, so I just learned how to drive. I am borrowing my parents' PT Cruiser, the gold one, that is so stylish back in the 2010s. And my friends and I, in the early morning, we would pack up that car and drive to this little yellow building called Filiberto's, and there's at least 10 people in this car that fit 6. But that's besides the story. We would walk into this one hallway room, and everybody buy the most giant morning burrito you could get, sit out inside of my car, and just talk about our teachers and our classes and school. And it was just so wonderful to hang out with each other and indulge in this burrito that's filled with avocado and carne asada, and just love it. And now one of my all-time favorite memories comes alongside the absolute favorite food for myself. When I was about 8 or 9, Every Sunday morning, my parents would pick me up, because I'm still asleep basically, put me into our minivan that is gray with that giant door that rolls back, and I would basically pass out again on the way, and we would roll up to one of our favorite breakfast brunch places called Bill Johnson's Big Apple. And when you come into it, I would wake up because you kind of go over this little bump that lets you know you're inside the driveway, and you then see this giant carriage that's sitting out front that you can play in, and it's got the white cover top on it. And then you see this really random cow that's sitting on top of the building. And you're like, what in the hell are we doing here? But you walk in through these double doors and you sit down, and when we were doing it, we were waiting for my grandparents to show up. So every Sunday, this ritual, we would have them come in, and my parents already knew what I wanted, and so they would order it, and as I'm like snuggling against my grandma and the family's talking about the week and the news and their work and all of the gripes they had, but then we're talking about school and how my brother and my sister and I are like fighting but getting along during the day. It was just such a great thing to wait for this biscuits and gravy to arrive. And so waiting for it, when it arrived, it would be this pile of warm, fluffy biscuit with this like creamy white sausage gravy next to it. And it would be so wonderful to sit there and eat biscuits and gravy. And I absolutely love just thinking back to that moment with my family. And I want to just have that thought of incorporating something that we do every day just for necessity of surviving, which is eating food. And I love bringing that in together with the memories that swirl around us when we think of these items, such as our favorite foods like biscuits and gravy. And I will always try to continue bringing in foods while mixing it in with some other kind of new favorite food and old favorite food. And I just wanted to take today to encourage you guys to do the same so that we can all enjoy food and make more memories. Thank you.